All right, welcome back to Play with Matches.
Hi.
We're going to talk about a very serious topic today, which is watching someone that you love descend into irrecoverable addiction. What do you do? What do you do?
It's me.
What do you do? You're watching them destroy themselves in real time.
I'm falling apart.
And there's nothing you can do about it.
My life is in shambles.
Gabrielle is hopelessly addicted to her cell phone in a way that is like watching a crack fiend beg to drink the jizz of a dealer.
Ew.
In exchange for one rock.
Okay, so when
Just
did this
one rock,
addiction?
one rock.
When did the addiction begin?
Oh, it's always been
Yesterday.
there. No, it's always been there.
I literally work on my phone for one. For two, I had to start a new Instagram.
When I take her
and
device
it gained
away,
4,000 subscribers
her
overnight who are all asking me questions about a product that I represent. What am I supposed to do?
I take away her phone and she's
Sorry,
I got to
everyone.
check the weather. I need to check the weather. I need to see if the weather is going to be good.
My phone is like my command center.
Your command center.
I turn on the air conditioning. I check the security cameras. I contact our children.
Like I said, take away the phone, and she's like, "Oh my god, how do I know what's going on?
How do I do anything
You're
in
all,
life?
You just chill. You just relax."
Anyways, we'll be here for an entire hour without my phone, and we're gonna see
why is that?
if I start itching.
Because her phone is over there. She can't get to it.
You took it away from me. It's not nice. It's not my fault that I'm just so amazing and such a badass on social media, and people have questions for me about this amazing product.
She is crushing it, and I am looking forward to.
You're just jealous. Don't be jealous. It's not a good look.
I am not a person who gets jealous.
Okay.
Let's look up the guy who
That was funny. That was a funny statement that you just said.
Alive.
Switching gears.
Because I figure he just died.
Again, I don't like to make light of people's deaths, but if one chooses to set themselves on fire and they die, are you really supposed to feel sorry for them?
I really need to understand, what
real
was
question.
the big idea here, you know?
It's not. It's too.
I know.
Pinchy pinch.
There. It's like, oh god.
Jeez
Louise.
You're so bad at this.
Bam. Oh nope, that's the wrong one. Oh nope. What is happening? What on earth is happening?
The wheels are falling off. I need my phone.
Yeah, exactly. Told you guys. There we go.
Okay. Here we are.
The man who set himself on fire outside of the Trump trial dies of his injuries. No way. Huh.
How unfortunate.
So this is not the first person to light themselves on fire in protest of something recently.
How does that,
what I really want to understand really quick.
Protesters are so weird, man.
What I want to understand really quick is why, right? Because I know why the other guy did it. And, so this guy says, the man was in Collect Pond Park at 1:30 Friday when he took out pamphlets espousing conspiracy theories, tossed them around, then doused himself in an accelerant and
Wait,
set
they're
himself
saying there
on
was a
fire.
conspiracy theorist who was against Trump? This is the more shocking news.
No. I think he was supporting Trump because that would call AP calls it a conspiracy theory. They're all the COVID lockdowns were not necessarily done for the American people. Conspiracy theory, or that mail-in voting is not secure. Conspiracy theory. A large number of police officers nearby. When it happened, some officers and bystanders rushed to the aid of the man who was hospitalized in critical condition. The man who police said recently traveled from Florida to New York had not breached any security checkpoints. The park. Okay, so what conspiracy stuff? So maybe this guy was a left winger. What were these?
That's what I'm saying.
Maybe he was a left winger because if he was a Trumper, they would have said it. They'd be all this lunatic MAGA guy.
I need to know what was on the pamphlet.
I know. The park outside the courthouse has been gathering support for protests. Friday.
There's nothing here. It keeps
Authorities said they have.
I already sped read that.
Okay. That's it.
That's it.
All right.
What a worthless article.
Let's go to the next one, and we shall.
Speed read? Sped read? What's the best? How are you supposed to say that?
Who had thrown pamphlets in the air.
What was on the pamphlets?
What is on the pamphlets?
He threw leaflets exposing anti-government conspiracy theories into the air. Anti-government?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. People rest. So maybe he was a Palestine. You know what I mean?
We don't know.
So they're all the things that were in this, like the guy has any credibility, you know what I mean? It's like, dude, you could just read us what's on the pamphlet. The guy set himself on fire. He doesn't have a lot of credibility.
Yeah, the biggest scoop of your life or your money back.
Trump is with Biden and they're about to fascist coup us. Okay, so
he's just a whack-a-noodle altogether.
Here, guys, this is what I was just looking
Trump and Biden are secretly colluding behind the scenes.
Trump is with Biden and they're about to fascist coup us.
Coup.
I know.
Okay.
You think I'd come on, dude.
I was like, whoa.
So when he says when they say conspiracy theory, they're like, listen, let's be honest. Trump and Biden, not in cahoots.
They're obviously on the same team.
In case you guys haven't been watching, it seems like one side is trying very hard to do anything they can to destroy Trump's life and make it to where he can't run for office. Kind of right in the face of everyone. You know, I actually do want to talk about that in particular after we talk about the dude who lit himself on fire. So don't let me forget about what these people think that they're doing while not realizing what they're actually doing.
It's very vague. I'm very confused.
Just about what they're doing with Trump. Like I had an epiphany about like what they're doing.
The people who are going after Trump.
What they think they're doing and what they're actually doing because they are stubborn, stupid, globalist fuckheads. Anyway, but
tell us how you really feel.
I did about the girl yesterday.
That was really funny.
Speaking of people who could go up
in flames.
You said it. But yeah, okay, so you light yourself on fire.
Look at you on flames. You didn't change our sign.
I know. So you set yourself on fire, and at that moment, you're all, this is going to create change.
I have changed the world.
What you've done is destroyed your credibility.
And yourself.
You have chosen one of the most painful ways to die in the world. For absolutely no reason.
No reason at all. For people to read your story and be like, this guy's a lunatic.
For an antithesis of a reason. Because if you want to share ideas with people, now your ideas are completely valueless because you're crazy. Because
you're a Looney Tune.
Only crazy people light themselves on fire.
Set yourself. I don't understand how you get to that point. You're like, I got it. I got the best idea. I'm going to change the world and they're going to hear my message because I'm going to set myself on fire.
I think that the image of the monk that lit himself on fire to protest the Vietnam War.
That was crazy.
Like, because like this guy seems to be a person who is like probably pretty well read in like historical stuff before he got into really crazy stuff. And the other guy who lit himself on fire was military. I'm sure that he's seen those images and they are pretty, I don't know, what's the word? They are impactful. Mostly because the monk is not moving. Like, dude, it's pretty gangster, dude. It's gangster. And, you know, we do now know what the atrocities of the Vietnam War were, and they're horrific. So gnarly that, like, people turn into animals, man. Like, I don't know. That environment is so crazy. There was this one interview that I heard, like I've seen.
War in general is crazy.
War is insane. Like killing
it's the
people.
Dumbest thing
I thought a bunch about this recently too. That like, if I got mad at my neighbor because they were damaging my property or whatever, and I went over and I shot them in the head, like I would go to prison forever, and people would be like, "That guy
is a lunatic,
is fucking insane."
But that's what we do on a grand scale with war.
We do, like, if you're in the government,
it's nuts.
It's like standard procedure. They just are like, kill that guy.
Yeah. It's like celebrated.
It's exactly the same thing.
100%.
It's exactly the same thing. You know?
It's insanity.
And like John McAfee, the guy who invented McAfee antivirus, and then he's had one of the craziest lives of all time. You know, he went from tech millionaire to like sex guru to drug dealer, kingpin,
drug dealer,
that was created like.
Where did he live again?
In Belize. He was manufacturing bath salts, which were chemically not illegal, and he was taking Bitcoin in exchange. You know, like he was on the dark web, and he's taking Bitcoin
as payment.
In exchange, right? He has fucking bricks and bricks and bricks and bricks and bricks of this.
A bath salt.
He's covering it with.
What are bath salts?
I have no idea.
They were big for a while.
They got on the scene because there was that story in the paper about the dude eating someone's face.
Yeah.
And then they were like, bath salts turn you into a zombie.
So if you haven't been here for a while, I'm watching Bones again. Mm-hmm. I'm very into it. But it was filmed in the early 2000s and they just had a whole episode on bath salts. And I was like, oh my God, I remember bath salts. But I don't know what they do. And then they just disappeared.
What it sounded like in the McAfee documentary, and they only breezed over it, was like that it can be used as like a sex drug, like
and
bath
then
salts and like.
Well, they also had, and this is the show, right? Take it with a grain of salt.
Oh, no. Look at what she did.
But they were saying that there was a psychiatrist as one of the characters, and I guess he was using it as a therapeutic drug before it became illegal.
I have no idea.
I have no idea.
All I know is that it was like a new drug that was not.
It was all over
regulated,
the news,
right?
Yeah.
So he took Bitcoin for payment and then was shipping it all over the place. He was paying the cops and paying everyone else. And like, he just kept like adopting these new roles, you know, like he's like, now I'm a tech millionaire. He's like, now I'm a sex guru.
Now I'm a drug dealer.
Now I'm a drug dealer and like a really dangerous kingpin. And he had dogs. He had he adopted all these dogs and they lived on the beach in Belize.
Like island dogs.
And they lived next door to this guy who had a construction company and retired to Belize and he's living his dream. And these dogs were like crazy and would always scare the shit out of everyone on the beaches and were obnoxious. And he was like, talked to McAfee a million times about the dogs, but McAfee has a bunch of armed guards everywhere. It's like he's ruining this guy's like retirement dream.
Yeah.
And so the guy told people, he's like, I'm going to poison those fucking dogs. And he poisoned them. He poisoned all of McAfee's dogs. Like, so McAfee's dogs all in one day, puking, shitting, and then died.
Oh my God.
All of his dogs. So the guy that did it ended up tied up, electrocuted, tortured, and then shot in the head and killed.
I wonder who did that.
Exactly. Well, we know exactly who did it. Like that's what I'm saying.
Did
in the
he
documentary.
get convicted for it?
No, it's this guy in Belize that did it. He did it.
He worked for McAfee?
100% sure. Yeah.
Oh.
McAfee hired him and he did it.
That's horrific, dude. I'm assuming that animal control is not a thing in Belize, I guess.
Listen. You fucking poison my pets to death.
Your family? Those are your family.
I'm going to torture you, or I'll hire some guy to torture you and put you
Hypothetically
down.
Speaking.
If I live in Belize and I'm a drug kingpin.
Speaking of pets, y'all know what happened today?
That's not a good story.
It's kind of a good story.
It's not. Our cat almost got out.
The cat that was on the video yesterday.
Almost got out. There you go. That's the story.
Anyways, we have an air tag on him. So if you don't have an air tag on your cats, do it. That's how we found him.
Correct. Yeah.
So public service announcement.
Yeah.
My terrible story.
I mean, it's just not like they're not going to be, oh my God, the cat got to the garage and
the
garage door was open.
We were just talking about whatever.
It's not, trust me.
You're not nice.
It will not translate well. Okay.
People love their animals.
Well, what would happen if someone poisoned him? What would you do?
That's what I was. That wouldn't be pretty. Remember Romeo ate rat poison once, remember?
You saved him.
I did.
Gabrielle saved that fucking dog's life.
Oh, he was a cat, man. That dog had so many lives.
He was like, what can I eat that'll kill me? He was 5 pounds, so he ate rat poison. There's a lot of rats that are like 5 pounds. Yeah. He was into trying to kill himself.
I love that dog.
But so McAfee kills that guy and goes on the run. And he's now not just he's not a kingpin anymore because he's lost his base of because everything's run out of Belize. So now he's on the run. Now he's a fugitive. And he ends up somehow getting let back into the United States, even though he's wanted for murder in Belize. And then Bitcoin blows up and he becomes a Bitcoin billionaire by fucking happenstance
because he was taking it for payment on the dark web. Wow.
He was taking payment for fucking bath salts when like Bitcoin was worth $100. You know what I mean? He's
That's
like,
so nuts.
This is a $5,000 brick of whatever. Well, it's $5,000 in Bitcoin now.
A lot of bit.
Yeah. And then he fucking died. He killed himself in a Spanish prison. That's the end of the story.
Did he really kill himself, or was it like a
that's
Epstein
what they said.
situation?
You know what it was? Is at least like the way that it kind of played out was I can't remember what he was doing. As someone who clearly knows a lot about his life, something happened where he ended up in Spanish jail, and I can't remember exactly what happened there, but he was trying to like go through the legal process that was going to enable him to like
get extradited or
something like that. And then once his final appeal failed, it was like he killed himself the next day.
Is Spanish prison like not good? Or is it
I mean,
more
dude,
like
if you're
US
a
prison?
billionaire and you find out like I'm never getting out of this cage, like, you know, like people who have never, like people who are like comfortable in jail, it's like a lot of them have grown up in jails. Like for a person who's lived like a free life,
lavish lifestyle,
and then all of a sudden it's like, here you go, you're gonna be in this box forever. I mean, Aaron.
But
Hernandez
there's no
killed
like
himself,
bougie
too.
jail like there is in the United States.
Fuck no, Spain.
Okay, that's what I was asking.
But also,
I mean, it's not. It's like a first world country. I'm just curious what they're. I don't know. What their
certain kind of crimes too.
Like
it doesn't matter if you have money too. Like you get convicted of murder, like you're not getting one of those bougie ones. The bougie ones are like for fucking people like Bernie Madoff. It's like, yeah, I stole $50 billion, and they're like, well, you're going to jail, pal.
But fancy.
Here's
jail.
your tennis racket.
Yeah.
You know.
Here's your dorm room.
Yeah, that's exactly what Jordan Belfort said about his jail. You know, like the financial criminals. Like, yeah, he said that he checked into jail,
you can't leave.
and it was like summer camp, and he really did like tennis racket, like, and they kind of did whatever they wanted. He's like, it was kind of nice. It sounds kind of nice.
American tax dollars at work, friends.
Yeah. Remember when we hung out in Punta Cana with that couple with the dude who was mobbed up?
Oh yeah, and the cabanas.
Yeah, and he was saying like his family's like legit mobbed up, and he was telling me that like he did a stint, and he was like, I gotta be honest, man. He's like, I liked it.
It was kind of nice.
He's like, I liked it. He's like, because I didn't have to worry about
Food,
nothing. And he's
rent.
like, and all I did is just play cards and gamble all day, and that's like kind of all I like doing anyway. He's like, I can't lie, I liked it. He's like, I was protected.
Look at that reform system.
He's like, I was protected in there because I have all, you know, like because of who my family is. He's like, so I just played cards all day. Like, I liked it. It's like, I remember when our other friend that went down for the bank robberies. I remember when he first got locked up, and I talked to him for the first time. He was
did not sound good.
No, he's trying to tell me how it's fucking awesome in there. Like, he was at Seal Beach prison. He's like, man, I'm telling you, man. It's like, what? I'm like,
I just remember at one point when he had the computers and the phones, and like he sent photos from his room. I'm like, what is this?
That was a federal prison that was really small, and there were only like, it was like mostly DUI people on one side, and then there were like 10 or 12 federal prisoners that they put there for whatever reason. They were like well behaved, and it was just stone corrupt guards that were bringing in drugs, bringing in whatever.
We talked about this already.
And then they raided it. They got raided by the whole place. Got raided by the feds. Like
everyone's on the ground.
Everyone,
prisoners, guards, everyone.
But the raid was to crack the prison. Yeah,
that's so.
But the people who got in trouble for it and like actually got charged were the guards.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, there are like some people in your life that you just feel like attract like the craziest scenarios.
Yeah.
Like, no matter where they are.
Not like that kind of shit. Like not like living on the edge.
You're like a magnet for what you want to happen.
I'm like a magnet for people, kind of, or something. But yes, I know exactly what you mean.
It's like good crazy. Like there's some people who end up in like these lunatic like action movie like high suspense dramas. Like he's one of those people. Yeah. And you're like, that can't be real life.
He gets out of jail, and then the first thing that happens is he gets into a partnership with Mark Garagos in a startup.
Yeah.
Like you're in jail, and then fucking your first like 2 months out of jail, you're in a fucking company partnered with Mark Garagos. How the fuck does that happen? And then you end up in a lawsuit with like, and then you move to, and then your townhouse gets flooded by the ocean.
Like literally. Yeah.
He's so funny, dude.
He's so funny. I love him.
It's crazy how his son is like 18 years old.
Yeah.
He's a man.
I remember when that kid was born.
Me too. But anyway, so people lighting themselves on fire is fucking nuts. I don't understand like
the end game there.
People are crazy. Like just bottom line.
This is a true statement.
People are fucking crazy, man. It's like you see the world the way that you see it, and then you kind of can watch people. You're like, I know that person sees things like differently, and I can kind of gauge the way that they'll interpret things. However, when you get into fucking real crazy land, and you're like, this does not compute. Right. What?
Where was your logic?
What did you think
this to
was
me.
going to happen? Like you light yourself on fire. Okay, like, so I would imagine if I douse you in gasoline, I'm like, I'm going to do it. No, please, no.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
You're like, I'm going to do this to myself. And that is how the people will finally wake up that Trump and Biden are in it together, and it's a fascist coup.
I mean, obviously, if you're someone who lights yourself on fire, you're a little off your rocker.
I want to know
Unless
what he does
monk.
for a living. You know, you got to figure he doesn't have a family.
He's crazy for a living.
Yeah, but like, yeah, because like, what's the
that
person?
little photo? And do we show that photo? That's him.
Yeah.
Like, that tells me everything I need to know.
Really?
Yeah, zoom in on him.
Everything you need to know?
I mean, he's a kookaloo. Look at him.
Okay, look at his shoes.
The gloves, the
Not
writing
terrible.
looks like it was done with like tape or something. No, it's marker. But like, it just...
And they're about to
nothing here matches.
Coup us.
It's like all bits of randomness. There's not like a cohesive.
And look at the jacket.
There.
Like look at the inside of his jacket. Everything's weird.
That's what I'm saying.
Okay.
All of it's weird.
So here's what I was gonna say.
It's not a connected brain.
Yeah, it's scattered.
Yeah.
And it's like, I'm scattering that if I light myself on fire, then the fascist coup won't happen.
The way that you break down people is like you look in eyes, and I really believe that you read micro expressions.
I think that's exactly what I do.
Really well.
Yeah.
I read, I don't know, I see outlying pieces. Like that picture tells me a lot.
See, you do like Sherlock Holmes shit.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like you're like, his shoe is on more snugly than the
Not
whatever.
Not to compare myself to the greatest detective of all time, but yes.
No. I just mean like that's the way you size things up. And you're right. With me, that's exactly what it is. I am certain of that now. They're like, that's exactly what I do. I have a photographic memory when it comes to micro expressions and then connecting like this person's face did this, and then and like I remember everything they ever did.
Yeah.
And so it's like, okay, that person did, you know, it's like a lifetime of
data,
trial and error and data in and Georgia will be able to do that too.
Yeah. Smart cookie, that one.
So what I was going to say about what these, you know, government people that are trying to destroy Trump are doing and what they're actually doing is, I really believe that in their mind, they're like, the whole Trump story goes like this. Hillary Clinton is going to win for sure. And if we can somehow have Trump be the Republican candidate, then that absolutely locks her in that she will win. They never in a million years thought that he could beat her. Yeah. Then he beats her by accident. And they're like, this was impossible, right? Like, this is not possible. They just didn't understand what kind of monster they were letting out at all. They had no fucking idea. How would they know? You know what I mean? How would they know? And then so he does what he does. They spend all of their energy trying to lock him up and not allow him to do anything while he's in power. And then once he gets out, they're like, we will never let this guy be president again. And in their mind, what they're doing is they're like,
saving America.
We're like, he is an outsider. We are not allowing this one guy to be president,
to come ruin.
And they think once they get rid of Trump, everything goes back to normal. And what they don't I do not agree with that at all. Like what they're doing to keep him out, I don't think will allow things to go back to normal, at least not for a long time. Dude, so like as an example, what they're doing they did something happened in Congress yesterday, and don't listen guys, it's not a fucking politics show, so don't break my balls. But something happened in Congress yesterday where the fucking Republicans gave power of the House over to the Democrats. Like the Speaker of the House somehow now is a Democrat, where like they didn't get the majority. I don't know, something like that. And then I read a comment and someone's like, well, now they control, now they're going to try to pass something to where Trump cannot run, right? And I thought about that and I'm like, I'm not saying they're necessarily going to do it, but they would. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like they would do that. And that's my point, is like whether they actually do that or not, I am certain that if they had the ability and the majority in Congress to pass something that's like Trump cannot run, they would do it.
Either side.
What?
Either side.
The Democrats.
Saying. Okay.
The Republicans would secretly support it.
That's what I'm saying.
Like they would support it without publicly supporting it, because their careers are over if they support anything that looks anti-Trump.
Because I mean that's the thing I think that you were talking about. Like, it's its own internal system. Like, we're led to believe as the American people, like, oh, it's the Democrats versus the Republicans, but like really underneath it all, they're kind of two sides of the same coin. Like, they work in conjunction together. And then you have like this outsider person who doesn't play by this game, these rules that these sides are playing by. So both sides are pissed because
except for the few outsiders who just got in with Trump,
right?
You know, like in Congress.
It's like an old game.
It's exactly what it is. It's like this game where they're all friends behind the scenes, and they all understand the game. That like in public, I have to yell at you about whatever.
You're this side.
And reality,
and then they go have drinks at the bar after
we keep them distracted with this, and this,
so we can do this, and this.
We can. You know, they tell themselves like these guys,
it's for their own good.
They don't
stupid.
understand how this all actually works. And like what they don't realize is they're seeing everything through these glasses of what benefits them personally, which is exactly how it would happen for any human being on earth for the most part. But like you have these outliers like, and you know who they are because they're called crazy all over the place in the media. They're like, look at this crazy bitch. Like that one, I can't remember her name right now, but she's a huge Trumper. And they constantly slander her. She's the one that said the Jews have lasers in space. And you're like, I mean,
I'm talking about that was her interpretation of their canopy.
I can't probably. Probably. I can't remember exactly what she said, and I don't care anyway.
Which is like because badass. Like to see that thing at work with those drones was pretty wild. I mean, I know it cost a lot of money for them to do that with those cheap drones, but like to watch them all get taken out.
Military technology is bananas.
What's it? It's called the something shield or the something.
It's the fuck me. Yeah.
I don't know, but it was pretty nuts
something
to watch.
dome.
Iron Dome.
Iron Dome. It's like if human beings could just all at once be like, okay, hey, let's stop killing each other. See, and that's the other. Okay, so they're like, let's stop killing each other, and instead of spending all this money on military, let's
save the world.
Let's like do something that actually benefits everyone. And so there is this part of me where you look at what the globalists are doing and how they're trying to make the world and all that, and you're like, these fucking tyrants. Mm-hmm. But there is a counter narrative to that, which is like, it's possible that's exactly what they're thinking. And they're like, we have to get rid of fucking country. Like, we can't have America just going out and just running shit out here. Like, we got to get rid of this whole thing. And then we can stop spending money on military. We can actually, like, that could absolutely be what they're thinking. And they're like, and then we can get rid of capitalism and we can actually start, thinking about sustainability, because you can't do sustainability in a capitalist system. You can't.
I just do not believe that communism works on a global scale.
No one's I mean, I don't disagree with you at all.
Like, I mean,
it would if technology gets to a point where technology can produce every single thing that we need.
I don't even think that would work. Like, I think it works, and this is just my own personal opinion. If you disagree with me out there, feel free to tell me. But I believe that works on a small tribal scale. Like, everyone pitches in for the benefit of the group. I believe that works on a small scale. But I genuinely believe, as part of like the human experience, that conflict with an outside is ingrained into our species. Like, I do not believe that humanity would do well without that.
I agree. Well, I just don't think it will happen. Yeah. And so that's what I always say about communism is like, communism, you are required to have a very small group that is responsible for the livelihood of so many people. I don't care who they are. No one gives a fuck about that many strangers, dude. Like, and
that's why I think it works on a tribal scale.
Exactly.
Because everyone knows one another. It's a small community. That's exactly the reason why.
Like, yes. We are not wired to, like, and people, like, if I said that to a group of people, like activists or whatever, they would be like, hey, you know what? Speak for yourself. I do care about everyone. It's like, no, you don't.
No, you don't. If it came down to your child or someone else.
No, even it comes down to, you have to do a shitload of fucking work and problem solving to make sure that all of these people are taken care of for this, that. You're not doing it. Like, it's not a matter of like, you can't, like, you're an activist. So you, what do you actually do? Okay. What do you do? I'm not talking about what you say you care about, right? There's you care about something, and then there's I care enough to do this.
Yeah.
And so like I'm saying, yeah, you care about it. All right, well, here's what it's going to take in order for you to do all this. And you're going to have to
give up all these
grind
things.
50 hours a week doing something that you don't like for 2 years. And not just you, but everyone else that in your little party is going to have to do that. Mm-hmm. They're not going to do it. Like, they're just not going to fucking do it.
Yeah.
They're not going to do it because no one gives a fuck about that many people. That's why when you hear about a fucking earthquake, you know, in whatever, and you hear that 50,000 people died in Sri Lanka, this is how much energy you give it. You're all, damn, did you hear about the fucking tsunami in Sri Lanka? Yeah, cool. By the next day, you forgot it even happened.
I don't know that you forgot it happened, but it's not like
2 weeks ago, 2 weeks go by,
Yeah.
you give it zero thought whatsoever. Like, we're not wired. Like, it's like,
I'm not that way, but
everyone is that way to an extent. Like,
at a certain point, yeah.
I'm not talking about like being
empathetic.
not empathetic. I'm just talking about like, again, you're not wired to care about that many fucking people. How are you supposed to care about all the people in the world?
Yeah. Again, back to my thoughts about working for the tribe, but not for the greater community.
Totally.
And that's exactly the reason why.
Because humans will die for their people.
100%.
But
you can only have so many people.
That's why I say though that like
before no one matters.
Well, that's what that's kind of what they also say. It's overpopulation. They are very on board.
So many thoughts about that, right? Like, I haven't actually watched Jordan Peterson's stuff. Was it Jordan Peterson who was talking about the fact that like
he says that the overpopulation narrative is declining? Total bullshit.
Yeah.
And him and Elon Musk are like, if we go this route where they are, because the reason why the birth rate is going down so much, aside from the fact that testosterone is going down and all that other shit, but like a lot of it has to do with propaganda, dude.
Yeah,
like,
they're just not having kids.
Don't have kids. And if you get pregnant, go have an abortion. Like, don't have kids, don't have kids, don't have kids, don't have kids.
And I feel like it's a very, very, very clear cutoff. Like, my cousins who are not that much younger than me, it's like a 5-year range right there. Same with your cousins that's like more of like a 10-year gap with yours. But from our age to that age, which actually my age to your cousins who are 10 years younger is that 5-year gap for me. Like, I feel like it happened right then in that little time period.
None of my cousins have kids.
No, I know. And mine don't either. And most people who are that age, I'm finding, are of the mind of like, oh, whatever, like maybe later, but not right now, or I don't want them at all. And it's very, very fascinating. Like, I'm curious what happened that created that, because it feels very sharp that it happened very quickly, and it happened in a blanket across a wide the whole friggin' like generation. It's nuts.
They're headed for sad, empty future. That's the thing, is I know that to be true. That like, I mean, sure, there are obviously people who will not have kids, and they will be happier from having not had kids because they have financial means to go do stuff and whatever. You know what I mean? Like, there are some people that will do. There are a lot of
financial means to take care of themselves when they need it when they're elderly.
There are a lot of people
who won't have that.
A lot of people who have been brainwashed into this way of thinking, and they do not have the wherewithal to know that this is better. Like they've gotten fucking brainwashed, and it's not that hard to convince someone how challenging having a baby would be, and that maybe not.
You can't go do all the things that you want to do.
You can't go do all the things.
Your
you'll never be able to buy a house.
Your life is never the same.
Yeah.
You can't give them a good life because it costs too much.
Climate change, you're dooming them to Armageddon.
When in reality, kids are happy with a friggin' cardboard box.
They don't.
Exactly. Yeah.
Like what's going to happen is they are going to hit an age, depends on, whatever, but like, they're going to hit an age where not having kids is going to hit them like a fucking sledgehammer in the face. Yeah. They're going to be like, they're going to look around at people who do have kids, and they're like, holy shit, I can't do all these things that I used to love doing, but my friends who have kids are doing it all over again because they love their kids more than they love themselves. And so them doing it is them living a life all over again.
My mom says that to me because she was, obviously a different class of human for her time period. You know, she didn't want kids. My dad being like the worst human being ever and not a part of my life. She always says the only good thing your dad ever did was make me have you. Because
pretty fucking big thing.
Yeah.
So the only thing he did is the only thing I've ever done that mattered.
She has several friends now, you know, that never had kids. And the difference, granted, we're not geographically close now, but you know, she's like, you keep me young with technology, watching the kids grow up. It gives me something to live for, that I want to see them do these things. I want to see them graduate high school and go to prom and do all of this. Where those friends of hers who are her same age but didn't have kids are also dying a lot sooner.
And having dementia, and it's bleak.
Yeah.
It's fucking bleak, man.
It is. Like, I truly, truly believe, for a multitude of reasons, from cognitive to immunity, that grandparents are supposed, or that generation and older grandparent age generation is meant to be around children for literally so many reasons. I mean, I won't go off on a huge health tangent here, but shingles is one example. Like, older adults are prone to shingles because the varicella virus lives in your spinal cord, but it stays in there because your immune system keeps circulating antibodies. So now we've had to do the shingles vaccine because kids aren't getting chickenpox anymore. It was when the kids got the chickenpox that the adults' immune systems encountered chickenpox again, and their immune systems would stay active and keep the shingle virus in check so they wouldn't get shingles. So that's just like one example of how our community is supposed to function on an immunological level. But I think it's the same thing for your mind. You know, your mind sits there and goes blank unless you have kids that are like, teach me how to read. Dude. Show me how to use this device. Like, there's so many reasons why children are like,
and
they're important.
Just like, think about this. Anybody who's ever been unemployed for any period of time.
Yeah.
Like, you know that feeling where you wake up in the morning and you have no purpose and it feels like a lead weight in the center of your chest?
I don't know that feeling, but I know you know that feeling.
Like, if you're like a person who's a doer and you do not have a purpose, it's like waking up with a blanket, the only way I can describe it is it's like weight on you. It's like this weight of depression that's on you, and you're like, what? I have no reason to do anything. Like, the only thing I could do during that period was just like find a show and just bury myself in it. Just like watch a show, you know, like I would go and like I would do all the things that a person who's working, like, you know, trying to like put irons in the fire to get, you know, it's obvious. That's how I ended up to like how I got out of it. But like, you can only do so much stuff. Wait, you're going to be at a certain age and you're like, okay, what's the rest of my life? Like, I'm not like young and athletic. I'm not whatever. And what is the point of this? Like, what do I have to look forward to? You know, like, it's all downhill from here. There's nothing for me to look forward to. And hope. I bet that just feels like it's the lack of hope. Yeah. That weight is a lack of hope and purpose. And that is inevitably going to hit those
hope
people.
Is the most important emotion, I believe, in the human experience.
100%.
If you, the minute you lose all hope it's not a good moment.
That's 100%. That only time in my life where I was like really, really depressed is when I had no vision of a way out. And so I had no like, if this, hoping for this, like, it was just like, I have no option. So I have no hope. And it's like, and it just, I mean, you know, it's one of those things where it's like, it feels like an unsolvable problem. And then the second that you get purpose or an iron in the fire, it just goes away. Yeah. Like, it just instantly goes away. It's like
it's so important.
Yeah. So switching gears, I put up a video today about when we talked about like searching your phone and or not searching your phone, like when like reading messages and shit. And someone commented, I saw, they were like, if your girl is talking to any guys for any reason, her intentions are bad or something like that. And I was like, seems like quite a generalization. Like no matter what, like
and maybe a little bit of like an insecurity.
Well, like
I don't know.
I don't think he was. No, I don't mean it like that. Like he wasn't like talking shit. You know what I mean? Like he wasn't. It was like he wasn't like trolling. You know, like he wasn't talking shit. He was like, if your girl is talking to whatever, like it's all bad. And in all honesty, in many cases that is the case. It just, you know, it depends on
the person.
100%.
Yeah.
Like I was talking to someone I won't quote, someone I referenced off camera that whose opinion I respect, but is not in a long-term relationship. And he was talking about what it's like to like online date, you know? Mm-hmm. And he's like a introspective, like real sharp person. And he's all, there's something about that process that just doesn't work for him. He's like, there's some, you know, he's like, it's not like you're like out and you meet a person and you're like, ooh, and you're like drawn to them and you have this connection. Yeah. He's like, he's
a very energetic soul.
He's like, you swiped him. He's like, like you were shopping, you know, and then you go out and you meet with them and it's like you're trying. And so like both of you are kind of like trying. And so you like that natural,
that organic feeling isn't there.
And because you're trying, it kind of poisons it. And I had never thought about that before in terms of online, because we have been together for so long.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we missed that boat entirely.
We missed that boat. But like, I actually had never thought about that. And I totally understand that. And I'll give you a perfect like comparison. You know how like if you've talked to someone a fair amount, like on the phone or online, like it's like the first night you hang out with them or hour or two, whatever, when you hang out in person, it's fucking weird. Yeah. It's like, you know them, you talk to them all the time, but then it's something about like being in person, because you're like, we're better friends than this, but I don't know how to do this because we've never hung out in person before. It's a phenomenon that like I have experienced a million times. I'm getting better at it now because that happens so much for me. But like that, I could totally understand how that applies exactly to the dating apps, because it's like,
for sure. And it's also the feeling attached to it where like if it's not great, you're like, I'll just go get another one.
Oh yeah, for sure.
I've seen friends just run through so many people. I mean, I guess there's a benefit to that as well. If you look at it on the flip side, like you can really be sure that this person is the one. Whereas before, people, I'm sure there were a lot of relationships, especially like 30, 40 years ago, where people settled because they're like, oh, I'm getting older. I'm not going to meet a bunch of new people. Like, let's just make this work. Where online dating, you have more options. But on the other side, it makes people less committed and less willing to try. Mm-hmm. So it's difficult to articulate, but like there's no real reason to try. Like if it's not 100% completely effortless, which I don't think any relationship is 100% completely effortless. Like ours is super, super,
ours probably
super
as
easy.
Close as it can get.
It's as close as you can get. But like, you know, obviously everyone has things, right? But I feel like people are so much quicker to just clip and move on to the next because you can go window shop again.
I think it depends on the person too, because like it depends on how comfortable a person is hanging out with people they don't know very well. You know, because like that is much more conducive to my personality and would be very much not conducive to yours. There's like, you know, if I was dating some girl that I was like, you know, like, you know, I mean, if I was dating a girl like that, I would be already, it's not really about the other options, but it might be like escalated to where, okay, I need to like get rid of this, like go do this or whatever. But yeah, I would imagine like you, like the thought of there being like, it might actually make it worse because you're like, oh my God, then I'll have to go do that fucking horror show again. Yeah. You know what I mean?
We've talked about this. For the amount of my seeing good in people and always trying to find the best and being very trusting, I am terrified of strangers. Mm-hmm. Like I'm great with strangers on a public setting, but the thought of going to dinner part's fine or the coffee part's fine, but going back to a stranger's house alone for the first time, I'm like, I'm definitely gonna get murdered 100%. Like it's
not an unreasonable concern for a small pretty girl, dude.
Right?
Like, you're not going to win in a fight, you know?
Like, I don't know you. I don't have any references on you. Like, all the men that I've ever dated, I've always known through someone else that could character vouch for the fact that they're not going to murder me. Like, it's scary. It's scary to think about that.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think that Georgia will not have that issue.
Which part?
The part about, oh, I wonder if this guy will murder me, because she'll look at them and be like, she'll just know.
She'll know this is a murderer or not.
She'll know if this is someone that's safe. Not necessarily like, oh, this was a murderer, but she'll be like,
I'm afraid of sociopaths. Like the people who look normal and act normal. Like friggin' Bundy, who was supposed to be
but there's
the most charismatic, charming man. Like,
that's very rare. He's like a once in a fucking
I'm not willing to roll that dice. That's a scary dice to roll.
I mean, I guess.
It's only one in a million. It's fine. It'll be fine.
A lot more than that, dude. Like one in fucking hundreds of millions.
Still, no thank you.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, but he still had a weird look to him, man. Like, but anyway, yeah, I mean, I totally understand.
Did we ever actually talk about the thing that I said? I don't remember where we recorded that about his eyes.
Yeah, I think, how his eyes turned black? Mm-hmm. I think we talked about it, but I don't think it's in any of the episodes.
I don't think it's on here. Yeah, there was, not to totally go on a tangent here, but there was all of these, or this one guy who said that anytime that he talked about his murders, that his eyes.
Let me put the context to that. Is there was a reporter, so he was he had been convicted and he was doing life, but he only got convicted of one or two of the murders or whatever. Everybody knew that he had committed many more murders. So there's this reporter who got him to do an interview, and he was trying to get him to talk about these murders, and Bundy refused to do it. And he figured out that since Bundy had trained as a psychiatrist or psychologist or whatever, he got him to speak about his crimes in hypothetical, as if, like, what would you talk about with a patient? And so Bundy started divulging everything. And when he would talk about the murders, his eyes would turn black.
That was how the guy described it.
His eyes would turn black, is what he said.
Yeah, and
Continue.
So we were talking about this somewhere. I don't know where we were talking about this, but my undergrad is in psych. Not that makes me an expert by any means, but learning about how different neurotransmitters affect your brain, and then connecting it to like ecstasy, how when someone does ecstasy, they have that dopamine and serotonin release, and your pupils dilate, your eyes go black.
They're huge.
So for him speaking about what happened, this is just a theory, a postulation, that it was like he was on a drug. Like it was a drug for him, and he had that serotonin dopamine release, and his pupils would dilate. Like, that's so crazy.
Yeah, and the way he described it was that every time he would commit one of these atrocities, like, because you can't even call what he did murders. Like, he was a genuine psychopath, like, you know, like a torture, dismember, like an absolute
the worst of the worst
stone
kind of
psycho,
person.
the worst of the worst. And he said that every time he would do it, he said that it felt like he was hungry, and that this was going to be the one time
like a drug addict
that he would be fulfilled. And he's like, no matter how many times you try to fill that void, it just comes back. It's like an empty hole that needs to be filled. And
can I get my phone?
For what?
I'm kidding.
Oh. She's itching, you guys.
I'm itching.
You see how this is the best episode she's done? Because I took her fucking phone.
Oh my God. But no, I mean, is that not how a drug addict explains their next hit? Like, I just need one more.
Think about that. Like, and so because it's really like, how does that happen to where committing, like kidnapping someone, them being terrified and then hurting them and killing them does that for your brain? Because the idea of doing that to a person, to me, is gut-wrenching. Fucking insane.
Yeah, it makes me physically ill.
Yeah. Like, the only time I could ever imagine doing that is if I was filled with so much hate for a person who had done something to, like, my family or something.
Did he have, like, a horrifying childhood?
No, nothing. No? There's nothing.
So
in
he
his
just
childhood.
legit had to screw loose.
He said that it started, he was, you know, he's so fucking smart and introspective that, like, or at the very least, very good at selling the story.
That he was.
He said that it started with porn. That like
at what age?
just when he started watching pornographic.
But he didn't.
Image, like,
he didn't do like the typical serial killer, like small animals. Like there was no escalation.
I'm not sure, but he was very clear that because he only murdered women, you know, like, and he said that it started with porn.
Huh.
But you know, like I hear people all the time. They're all, you know how it is, man. Like you're watching this, and then it just kind of escalates. And then you got to watch this, and then you got to this. I'm like, no, I don't know what.
But I mean, this is the same thing we talk about all the time. I feel like that's a human experience. Like you get desensitized to anything.
Yeah, but I'm saying like they're talking about like more extreme stuff than more extreme stuff,
Yeah.
and like no, then I'm watching girls get pounded out with baseball bats. I'm like, Jesus. There's just.
That's not normal.
No.
Don't watch that.
It's not normal at all. But also, I'm not into shit like that at all. And like all the ex porn stars all talk about like all of them have had to do scenes where it's like throat grape or whatever. Like they're all, so this is what they're going to do. And they just like, they're like, that shit just, again, does nothing for me at all. Nothing.
Yeah. It's like a power thing.
Yeah.
I hear our kids yelling about something.
Yeah. We've probably talked enough. And once we've gotten to throat grape, I think we've probably...
That's when you know you've hit your limit.
Hit our limit. So thank you guys for watching. Subscribe to the channel. Ring the bell.
See you next time.
Bye.